We have been covering May Day protests across the country, demonstrations against Trump administration policies, including on immigration. They are playing out across the United States. CNN's Danny Freeman is joining us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, clearly amid the crowd there. Danny, what have you seen?
Yeah, Casey, frankly, today here in Philadelphia and across the country, a lot of lively crowds. We're right here in front of City Hall, and we're actually watching Bernie Sanders, who's been speaking at the microphone for a number of minutes right now. He has been rallying folks here. This event here in Philadelphia is sponsored by the AFL-CIO. He's been speaking very strongly in favor of unions, in favor of workers' rights as well. And then the past, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes, he's been returning to the refrain that we've heard him and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the congressman from New York, speak about for a number of weeks now. He's talking about the perils and dangers of the oligarchy. And that really tells you, Casey, a lot about what the tone of these rallies have been, not only here but across the country. A lot of people here, not just to support unions and labor movements, but also a lot of people here clearly voicing their frustration at President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. I won't go too far out just because there's a lot of profanity on the signs here, but I'm seeing a lot of signs. I'm a history teacher. This is fascism. I'm seeing signs for due process. Stop Trump and stop the oligarchs. These are the kind of scenes that we're seeing, again, not just here in Philadelphia, but all across the country today in honor of May Day. I'll just tell you right now, there are a couple thousand people out here. This is a pretty big crowd when it comes to Philadelphia rallies. I've been to a number of them. Clearly, Bernie Sanders is one of the main draws here. And a lot of people were telling me earlier that the reason they came here is not just to support Bernie Sanders, not just to make their voices heard against the Trump administration, but also to show that they are here, they are not afraid, and they are willing to take to the streets specifically to make their voices heard when it comes to, again, protesting the Trump administration. So this rally, like I said, you just saw Bernie Sanders. He just walked up the stage. The rally here is going to continue likely for about an hour or two more. A lot of people here at the moment, and we're expecting more rallies and protests throughout the evening and afternoon. Again, not just here, but also across the country, Casey.
All right, Danny Freeman, with whom I have stood in countless crowds listening to Bernie Sanders speak. Our viewers probably don't know that, Danny, but we covered the 2016 Bernie Sanders campaign together. Thanks you to Danny. Congresswoman, this, of course, your party, saw a lot in that crowd, flags for Palestine, but also, of course, anti-Trump. As Danny noted, a lot of people out there for Bernie Sanders. Which leaders in the Democratic Party do you think have it right now in terms of pushing back against Donald Trump?
It's a good question, and I'll be honest, I'm really proud of House Democrats. I think that we have done a really, making sure that we're talking about all the issues, holding them accountable in the markups we're having for this budget resolution. I like to tell my constituents that we're playing zone defense, not man-to-man, right? So it's not necessarily each individual Democrat doing everything, but all together, we're pushing back on every front.
Of course, the numbers, Kristen Soltis-Anderson, in our poll for congressional Democratic leaders, not great. It was like 72% don't approve, 62% don't approve of Republican congressional leaders. It's kind of a mess all around, but really, really bad for Democrats. This, of course, as one of the things that's a struggle for any party out of power, especially in the wake of a loss, is finding a messenger, especially in our celebrity-driven politics. I want to show you something. Wes Moore, who's a much talked about potential 2028 presidential candidate, the favorite of George Clooney, we learned when George Clooney talked to RJ Tapper. Here's what he had to say this morning on The View.
Are you going to run?
I am not running.
You're not?
I'm not running.
It's saying that. You're saying that for sure?
I'm not running.
He's saying he's not running.
Do we believe him?
That's the thing you have to say.
Right. I was going to say, Barack Obama said it before he ran in 2008.
Not running now. But I'm fine if they all wait and nobody runs. We keep showing footage of those protests. When you're an old hippie, the 1960s never end. And that's what you see when you see these Democrat they protest for the same reason college kids like keg parties, because it's cheap fun. And so I hope they keep doing it. Independents hate protests. They hate Hamas. They hate Bernie Sanders. Bring it on.
I do think that Democrats are in a tough spot right now because their own voters are saying we want more aggressive pushback against the Trump administration. And when you're the party out of power, What does that look like? Does it look like more aggressive tactics? Does it look like an ideological move to the left to fire up the base? These are the challenges any party out of power is trying to sort through, and Democrats really are.
Messy right now.
Crowds are gathering across the US right now, with many anti-Trump protesters marking May Day. These are the scenes here in Seattle, Washington, and there you can see people gathered with banners. And also we can see scenes from Atlanta, Georgia here. Outside the state capitol, just in front of you there, you can see above the grass as they mark May Day. Earlier, thousands marched in Chicago. This all stems from a movement which sprang out of a Reddit forum called 50501. The group has held numerous protests in recent weeks. The family of deportee Kilmar Abrigo Garcia appeared at the demonstration in Washington a little earlier. Well, meanwhile, the Trump administration is reportedly considering sending migrants to countries such as Libya and Rwanda. Multiple sources tell CNN the proposal was discussed with Libyan officials this week. The sources add similar conversations have occurred with officials in Rwanda. Priscilla Alvarez has the latest.
The Trump administration is considering sending migrants to countries like Libya and Rwanda. It's part of a concerted effort by the administration to send migrants to other places, including those that aren't their own. Now, the conversations, we're told, in the cases of Libya and Rwanda, center on migrants with criminal records. We're told that this was a proposal that was discussed with Libyan officials this week, and that there have been conversations recently regarding Rwanda and with Rwanda as well. Now, in the case of Rwanda, this would be on an ad hoc basis, according to sources, and the cost structure of this is still being finessed because it would likely be a higher price per person, since they would also be absorbed within society in Rwanda. The conversations, however, regarding Libya go a step further, with some Trump officials hoping that they can enter into formal negotiations with Libya for what's known as a safe third country agreement, essentially allowing the U.S. to send asylum seekers apprehended at the U.S. southern border to Libya. Now, it's unclear what nationalities they would be willing to accept, but the United Nations has raised alarm over human rights abuses in Libya in the past, and all of this would likely face legal challenges in the United States. The administration, of course, has previously tried to enter into safe third country agreements in the first Trump administration, and they've already faced legal challenges in this administration in sending migrants to third countries. A federal judge in that case temporarily blocking the administration from sending migrants to other countries if they are not provided notice ahead of time and given an opportunity to contest. But again, the administration looking at all of these options as they push for migrants to be removed from the U.S. Priscilla Alvarez, CNN, Washington.